Kevs, McKinley Kavas, Riley Lessart, Skylar Madla, Mariah Milton, Andrew Nelson, Kalissa Niska, Theodore Olavanti, Nels Parento, Marlana Ryan, George Thomas, and Abigail White. So again, congratulations to all our seniors, the 36 of them, but special graduation to the 19 honor students, which mean they had a B average or better. So, man, that's either a smart class. 60% of them are B or better, or else there could be some high grading teachers. But that's good. So that's great. Remember, Joe, when we were there, when we were honor students, Joe?
Yeah. We were only ones in the class.
Well, like I said, Joe, you were in the top 10, but I know you only had 11 in your class, but you made the top 10. I'm very proud of you, Joe. So no, but congrats to all the seniors, especially those honor grads. Okay, with that being said, let's move to item 1.
Gary, excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe, go ahead.
I want to add one more birthday, one more shout out. This one goes to a longtime Mountain Iron resident, and he happened to be my 4th grade teacher in Parkville. John Pagosetti turned 88 on May 13th. So I want to give a shout out to Mr. Pagosetti, who happened to be probably my best teacher. Of all 4 times I took 4th grade, he was the best one. But John, a great guy, he's doing well, and I want to wish him a happy birthday.
That is great. You have great families, wife and kids. And thanks, Joe. I'm glad that we could do that. Yeah, John's a special guy. Thanks, Joe. Anyone else before we move on? Anybody else there? Okay, item 1 under Mayor's Report, Community Action Month Proclamation. It's on page 8 and 9. If you glance at it, it's came for the month of May a little, but it was some of the AOA where it's a proclamation. They're asking the cities for the month of May. This community action network was formed 56 years ago to help families and communities across America overcome barriers that contribute to poverty. And this would be the AO would be one of these 1,000 agencies, working in that area. So if I could we have a resolution or a motion to accept and have this proclamation for the city for the month of May 2020.
Also move that we proclaim the month of May as Community Action Month.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Al. That's fine, and we'll get it in. Motion by Al. Do we have support?
Support.
By Joe. Thank you, Joe. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 5-0. Okay, let's move on to B, City Administrator's Report. Craig, anything to add, Craig?
A couple of things, Mr. Mayor. As you know, the governor still has recreational camping as not allowable at this time. So we're just kind of following that when it deals with our campground. We're reviewing different options of at what point does it even make sense to do anything out there. Little League, I know there's been some conversation about moving it back, maybe starting in July and just having a shorter season for baseball and softball, but that group has not made a final determination yet. Also, we got a couple contracts that we're signing to get moving on the Mountain Iron Drive project and the water tower project. So those will be coming up here shortly. And MnDOT's going to be there'll be a press release holding a meeting, and I'll notify you of it. But for the intersections, they want to have a meeting with the cities and the Chamber of Commerce to discuss that project for the public. So I'll let you know about that coming up.
Thanks a lot, Craig. A lot of limbo yet, uncertainty yet. So this will play, and we may know more by June before June on some of the campgrounds. I think there's some changes coming on that. So thanks, Craig. Okay, anybody else, anything for Craig? Okay, none being, let's go to C, Director of Public Works Report. Anything there at all, Tim?
Nothing formal, Mr. Mayor, but just a few comments. Without having the summer students this year working for us, you'll see our crews they started mowing grass today. We're out there still trying to repair some of our lawns, but from our snow plowing, if anybody feels they got missed, please contact the city hall and get on the list so we can get to your place. And you'll see them out there straightening signs and doing things that the spring leads to. We did finish up the CIPP lining downtown. It went really, great. It was a fantastic job they did for us. So we lined actually underneath the school building. We found some real bad sections that we were able to repair. So that was a successful project. And the last thing I'd like to mention is that, and I forgot the exact dates here, but we're looking at postponing with the COVID-19. We're looking at postponing the large trash pickup until September. We're we will be short-staffed, kind of trying to keep up with everything. I'm not sure, Craig, do you recall the exact dates in September that we looked at?
Was
And I
it
believe-
second and third week of September?
Yeah, I believe it's sometime right after Labor Day. It would probably be a 2-week process. So
And Tim, that still could, it's depending how things are at.
yeah, I mean, normally we do it the first couple of weeks of June, and first of all, our staff is gonna be busy. The second part is that it's direct contact for our employees that we would like to put that off until a later date.
Okay, no problem. Just keep us posted, Tim.
Okay.
Hey, I was thinking, Tim, why don't we, if it's okay, the council, since we're with you, let's move item K, the purchase on some of the wire. Could you present that to us right now, Tim?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. Some of our quotes came in last minute, and some of them I had to follow up and look into. But we're looking at purchasing 3 rolls of wire. We're doing quite a bit of replacement of some of the old style wire that has notoriously faulted on us. So this would be underground 1/0 wire, and we'd look at recommending a purchase of 3 rolls from Border State at all the quotes came out slightly different. So the best would be to go by foot. It'd be $1.761 cents per foot. Be 3 rolls of a total of 7,500 feet for a price of $13,208.33.
Gotcha. It's an underground wire, Tim, was it?
Yeah. That is correct. Underground primary wire.
Okay, thanks, Tim. With that being said, could we entertain a motion on that purchase of the wire?
I'll make a motion that we purchase 2,500 feet of 1/0 underground wire from Border States at the price of $1.761 foot for $13,208.33.
Okay, thanks, Skog. Motion by Steve. Do we have support?
Support.
Thanks, Joe. A discussion, Tim, where's Border State from? Do you know, are they a Minnesota
Oh.
outfit?
We have an office in Duluth, but if I could make a correction, I may have misspoke. It's 2,500 per roll, so it'd be a grand total of 7,500 feet. I think
Okay.
Owen had mentioned 2,500. But yeah, there was 2 other quotes we had gotten, and they're quite a bit higher. They were $2.25 approximately, and $2.20. So this one is a considerably less expensive product, and probably between $3,000 and $4,000 savings.
Okay, 7,500 feet, right, Tim? Is that
That's
what it was?
correct.
Okay,
I'll correct my motion to 7,500 feet.
okay, fine, okay, and Drew, you'll accept the
I
change?
still support.
Oh, thanks, Drew. Okay, any other discussion? None being, Amanda, could you have a roll call on that?
Goodman,
Yes.
Buria,
Yes.
Kriebig,
Yes,
Danaway,
Yes.
Galco.
Yes, I just had some pop went down the wrong pipe. I was choking on my pop. Okay, motion carried 5-0. Anything else, Tim?
No, that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions of Tim?
Tim, I just want to make one comment. I was going to ask about large trash pickup because I saw somebody had left a dishwasher up at the recycling center there. And just a reminder that that's not for trash up there, that's for recycle.
Yes, Mr. Skogman, that is correct. Somebody did leave a dishwasher. I also remind people that there is surveillance cameras up there, and we will, if we can identify who they are, we'll try to find who they are. The second thing is that there's, as you brought it up, that, you know, there's quite of a, yeah, it shouldn't, the people are fairly good about patrolling the area and picking up, but we do get things left behind there by used oil and fluorescent bulbs and things, styrofoam. Styrofoam is not recyclable. Please don't put it in the bins. One other comment about our recycling is we are at the mercy of the contractors that work for the St. Louis County at when we can, to have those bins changed out. I know it's fallen through on the weekends where those things have had considerable use and they filled up over the weekends and there's been containers left on the sides of them. It's nothing that the city staff is certainly wants and has a part of, but it's just the way the cycle of the timing goes on when we call them in and when they show up to pick it up. So sometimes there's a little bit of a window there that we have to wait for them.
And I think, Tim, too, with just COVID-19, I think we're getting a lot more people using it too from other towns because they're closed. So I think our volume, if I'm correct, is probably higher too.
Yeah, well, our volume is pretty high for the size of our town. Plus, I think that people, the stay-at-home order has had a lot of people cleaning up in spring has brought out a lot of people cleaning up. Once again, I mean, you go into those bins and you look at big, large chunks of cardboard or the old ornaments that were in their yard at one time. Those are not recycling. That's trash. Please put them in the trash.
Right. And it's a convenient for
Steve, did you,
go ahead, Joe.
yeah, I was just gonna ask Steve. Steve, did you check that washer? It may have been in the recycle mode.
It could have been. I saw it there. I looked at it a little bit, but I didn't see it.
Yeah,
What mode it
look a
was
little
in.
closer. There might have been a mistake there.
Yeah, it
Joe?
could have been.
A weekend in the woods and Joe's on his A game tonight. Give him a weekend up in the Lake Captogama and he's sharper in attack. So, hey, but thanks, Tim, for doing. Like I said, it is a convenient drop off for Mintoc, man. Try to get Mintoc employees too, because they drive right by it, many of them. But thanks,
Yeah,
Tim.
it'd be nice if we could get them to take those bins and change them out on Friday because they really get stacked on the weekend.
Yeah, but thanks again, Tim. It's okay. We're moving on to D, the library director, special events coordinator report, page 10. Hey, Anna.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, everyone.
Good to hear your
Just
anything
go ahead.
Go ahead. Anything to report?
a short report in the packet, but just a few comments to add. We are making some changes here at the library to for safety of staff and patrons for a potential opening in the who knows when. We don't really have a date, and no libraries in our area are making plans for that at this moment. But Terry Niska did build and construct a plexiglass screen guard for in front of our checkout computer for our staff. I purchased stanchions, basically crowd control ropes for distancing around our workstation. Purchased an outdoor message board, which is out now for some curbside attention. And we're looking also, or have purchased an outdoor sign that we'll have installed as soon as it's in-house for messages to the community. And both of those are just ways to promote communication with our downtown patrons. Our summer reading program will kick off on June 15 and run through July 31st for youth in the communities. We'll be going with an online platform called Read Squared, and Read Squared will unveil or be opened up to the public to register starting in June. I do have a reading challenge out this week that I put out on Facebook. Read as many minutes as you can today through Friday. Let me know how many you've read. And our top adult and youth readers this week will be awarded with some Dairy Queen or some Burns Greenhouse gift certificates. So if anyone out there wants to start reading a lot, I've got some prizes for you. And then you can let me know by Friday afternoon how many minutes you've read. This week, or the last 2 weeks with our curbside pickup, we've served 144 patrons. So that service is going very well in the community. But just wanted to add those quick little notes and just making sure that people are aware that we are doing non-contact curbside and have been quite busy down here at the library. That's about it.
Well, thank you so much, Anna. Any questions of?
Anna, I've talked to several people who use the curbside pickup and they're very appreciative of what we're doing.
That
I
sounds great. I'm so happy.
I understand you even got a book out of Minneapolis for one patron.
Yes. As soon as MinLink opened up, which is the Minnesota system, we were able to pull books out of libraries that are also doing curbside pickup and delivery. So yes, we'll find anything you'd like.
That was
Thank-
great.
Thank you much, Anna. You know, Joe,
You're
did you
welcome.
get, Joe, did you get that information about her reading now? So when you're for the club, you got that, Joe?
Got her there.
Oh, thanks, Joe. I make
Hey,
sure- Okay, wait, Anna,
One-
something for Joanna?
one thing I want to add for Joe, Joe and I have an agreement that I'm going to be teaching him first how to read, and then he's going to report his minutes to me. We're going one-on-one with our lessons here. So
I got a tutor.
yes, you do.
He's all right, Joe. He's the man. Thanks, Anna. Okay,
You're
now-
welcome.
Thanks,
Have a-
Anna.
Thanks, Anna. Okay, now we go from the serious to whatever. My buddy, hey, John, Sheriff's Department report. Are you out cruising the parking lot or what are you doing there, John? A report, anything to report? Anything to report, Johnny?
I have nothing.
Nothing. Okay, you're not in the school parking lot. It looks a little fuzzy there.
The school parking lot is kind of full right at the moment. Graduation.
Oh, tonight? Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. I don't know. Well, John, nothing to add at all. But I want to
No.
thank you for the help you've been on me on the bird issue. I want to thank you again. You'll know what I mean on the pigeon issue. Really appreciate it, John. Thank you much.
bet.
Any other questions for John? John, I guess you're not real popular tonight, so we're gonna have to let you go. Okay, thanks, John. Okay. F, City Attorney's Report. I think Brian's on with us. Are you there, Brian?
I'm on, Mayor. I've got no phone.
Okay, are you on the phone, Brian?
His screen just froze.
Oh, okay. So, well, okay.
There he's
Well,
back.
Is he?
He's
Brian,
back.
Are you back, Brian?
I am, Mayor.
Okay, good, Brian. Well, you know, any question on Brian? Well, Brian will help us on, I think if there's questions on the resolution, this one that Steve was written by, was Brian. So we'll maybe get back to you shortly, Brian. Anything you have to add right now, Brian?
Nothing, no formal report, Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Brian. We'll be keeping in touch here shortly. Like the beard, Brian. Okay. G would be City Engineers Report. Okay, item 1 is pay request number 1, CIPP project 11 to 14. Do we have L with us?
Well, Mr. Mayor, Al wasn't able to attend to a death in his family, so
Okay.
had an aunt, I guess, that passed away, so he wouldn't. be-
Okay, thanks, Craig, for it. So we'll look at it here and go from here. If there's questions, we can, someone maybe Craig or somebody could answer. But we'll just see pages 11 through 14. That's the downtown sewer product. I think was this maybe what Tim was describing a little bit. We have to make.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Tim, do you have a little bit of knowledge? I don't want to put you on the spot, but just a little comment that what we have on this project a little bit? I think we have to pay
For
some
for
money.
the most, for the most part, Mr. Mayor, this project was completed. It was successful. Everything went real well, I believe. We were able to eliminate quite a few failure points that were potential failure points and some quite a few entry points that were in there that were contributing to I&I. So as Alan's got spelt out he's looking at the progress payment for Insistoform.
And I see we have to make pay request number 1 tonight, I
Yes.
believe.
Yep.
Right, that includes a retaining 5% retainage fee. So with that being said, could we, entertain a motion to make that pay request number 1 for this downtown sanitary sewer improvement project?
I also move that we pay request number 1 for the downtown sanitary sewer improvements. That will be in the amount of $107,169.98. And that will go to Insistoform Technologies USA.
Thank you, Joe. Motion by Joe. Do we have support?
Support.
Hey, thanks, Al. Any discussion on that? Craig, can I ask Craig, I think we have some help here in a CBG grant, don't we, on this?
Correct. We have $50,000 of CDBG grant money on this project.
Okay, I knew we did, so, yeah. Hey, thanks, Craig. I knew there was some. Okay, so we did get a good 50,000 from the CDBG grant. Any other discussion on it? Amanda, can we have roll call?
Skogman,
Yes.
Furia,
Yes.
Previg,
Yes,
Danaway,
Yes.
Skalka.
Yes, motion carried 5-0. Okay, moving on to H, Utility Advisory Board. Item 1, interconnection application, pages 15 through 29. I know Joe's on our UAB board. I think it's self-explanatory. Joe, is there anything you want to comment especially or not?
I think Craig will take this,
Oh.
Craig or Tim here can
Okay,
give this interconnection a little bit more detail than I could right now.
okay, thanks, Joe. And Tim or anybody want to comment on that or on this interconnection agreement?
Mr. Mayor, this is a requirement by the state that anytime a new source or outside source of electricity connects to your system, such as in this case, solar, they're required to file an application with that utility authorizing that we're aware of it and that the proper precautions are taken for that development. And so that's what this is just the application to allow this solar project we've talked about to interconnect to our distribution system.
Thanks, Craig. Here, thank you much. Yeah, you did a nice job. Joe, you could have probably come up with something though, but no. Okay, yeah, Joe, I'm smiling, I think. Okay, so we have thanks, Craig. Now we better get a form of a motion. Who would like to make the motion? Joe, here. I can see-
Yeah, also move that we approve this agreement for the proposed solar farm. And this is an interconnection agreement that spells out the specifications for the distribution energy resource.
Thanks, Joe. Motion by Joe. Do we have support?
Support.
Thanks, Al. Any further discussion on this?
Just one question for either Craig or Tim. You guys gonna get a building permit for this?
Absolutely. Well, I've been on these guys to get their plans together to get us so we can get the application in for a building permit, of course.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll leave you alone then.
Any other questions on that? Okey doke, none being all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried 5-0. Item 2, this is more the easement part. Item 2, the lease and solar easement, pages 30 through 60. It's kind of self-explanatory. If anybody wants to comment on it. It's again, Craig, is this project maybe going to start yet this summer?
We're working through some of the financing with the IRRB right now. They haven't given us the final go-ahead on the
But-
funding. So if that comes through here in a timely manner, yes, we will be.
It could still start sometime. Yeah.
Once we get a building permit.
Thanks, Craig. Okay, anything with that? Any other questions on this lease agreement? That it's pretty black and white, so if there's none, could we have a motion on that?
He also moved that we approve the lease agreement for the proposed solar farm located in the former desert area.
I used to play there when I was a kid, Joe. Probably Skokie did too.
I used to hunt there.
Yeah, and just like Joe, you used to hunt probably in where a unit or where there what's that big rabbit patch? I even used to hunt back there where Westgate is now. A lot of good rabbits. It was like a swamp. I almost drowned in there once. In the mud, the swamp. But I remember I got a rabbit scope.
Good for you.
Thanks, folks. Okay,
What'd you do with it, Gary?
I mounted it. It's in my bedroom. You're gonna okay. Let's go. Who do we? Where are we?
Support.
Okay. Hey, Joe.
That's where we're at. I support it.
Okay, we did. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we're all ready to vote. Okay.
That's with an agreement with SunX Solar out of Hancock, Michigan.
Right. Got exactly. Thanks, Al. And this, again, if people aren't aware, would be a joint venture with the city of Virginia, their Department of Public Utilities. So, okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried 5-0. Okay, we're moving on to liaison reports. We took, we've taken care of one, the pair, the wire purchased under the thing. And now this would be one. I'll let you start, Stephen, and we have Brian if there's any questions. It's a well-written resolution. I think Brian did do the writing, but Skokie, you're on. It's limiting city sponsorship for public gatherings. Skokie, do you want to?
Right.
speak there?
On May 14th, 2020, I took part in a virtual webinar with the League of Minnesota Cities. The presenters were Christopher Smith, who was a risk management attorney, Julie Jelling, loss control consultant with the League of Minnesota Insurance Trust, and Laura Olivin from Minnesota Department of Health. One of the things that they suggested is that cities have a resolution limiting city sponsorship and permitted public gatherings during this COVID thing. It's already something that we're basically doing, but this puts it in writing in resolution form. If anybody wants to go to the website to see, there's a lot of handouts on this, a lot of interesting information. League of Minnesota website, you go to learning and events, recorded webinars, and the series is parks and recreation. And they talk about everything from baseball to swimming pools to swimming lessons, gatherings of in public areas. And this resolution that I had Brian help me with only pertains to public property. If people want to have gatherings on their own property, if they want to have it with their family and stuff, that's fine. It doesn't refer to that. But if it spills out on public property, then this resolution addresses that.
Well, Steve, why don't you, and if there's, thank you, Steve. Why don't you, if you could make this in a motion and we'll get.
I'm going to
support.
make it so that we can discuss it. I make a motion that we approve resolution number 11-20. It's a resolution limiting city-sponsored permitted public gathering.
Okay, Thanks, Scope. Do we have support?
Support.
That's Al. Thanks, Al. And any discussion on this?
Yes.
Gary, I just think, Brian wrote this. It's pretty detailed. I think this is kind of an important resolution. Brian, could you would it be possible to either read this resolution or tell us where you got the information, how you came up with wordage for this?
If the council would like me to read it, I could. Essentially, I took just some of the history of the COVID, and particularly the history of the COVID as it's been kind of outlined within the state of Minnesota. Looking at the orders that have come out and things that have happened, it kind of walks through just a brief summary of the background of this and the information about steps that most places are taking to try and limit the spread, and just the information, the specific information about how this how COVID-19 seems to be passed easily in large gatherings. And that's part of the reason why one of the touchstones for trying to slow the spread is to keep the size of groups limited if possible.
Are there other cities that are using this same resolution?
I don't believe there's any that I'm familiar with, or the cities that I work with. None of them have passed this resolution in the past.
Okay, and another question I have, Craig, is this pretty much black and white, or does a decision have to be made by somebody on whether these events are going on or not? I mean, people that apply for this permit, are they approved by the city administrator? Does it have to go to the council, or how is the approval process work?
I really couldn't tell you. I haven't spoken to Brian about this, so I don't know if you would have some insight, but on an administrative level, I don't think that's a decision that I want to be making. I would prefer it be a council decision rather than me making that decision.
Joe,
Brian,
one thing about this resolution is if things should change nationally, worldly, we can always change this resolution too. We can change this to go with the way things are.
all right, I guess my question is, I know this thing looks, it's a very detailed resolution, Brian, but is there any way that this resolution can be contested by anybody, any organization that says, you know what, we're going to contest this resolution. We want to still have our event. We don't think that the resolution is binding. I guess what I'm getting at is when you have a resolution or a law, there has to be enforcement on it. What enforcement would there be if somebody violated this resolution?
Well, a couple of things, and maybe I'll start with this question. So this is, it's not necessarily creating a law. It's creating a policy and kind of creating a system that we can use for this summer. Just basically declaring that all of our large gatherings have been canceled. And then back a little bit with regard to the question about the language about sponsored or permitted. That permitted, I use that to capture those events where somebody would apply or would ask the city to declare a festival or something like that. So it's not necessarily an application for a specific permit. It's just that the city would allow it to happen. So permitted as in allowed, not permitted as in a permit. But as far as enforcement, I think we are. Yeah, I think there are some methods that we could use to enforce it. Obviously, and what the league is promoting as far as these types of situations and activities is just to, and Sergeant Backman, you have more information on this, it's for education and just trying to, the larger groups assemble, in contravention of the governor's executive orders. I think they're encouraging law enforcement to kind of take an educational approach, try and break up those groups. For this policy, or for this resolution, I'm sorry, the way that it operates, it's supposed to take care of the issues on the front end as opposed to the back end. So if someone comes to the city and says, we'd like to put on a parade, according to this policy, we're supposed to say no for this, the period during this summer. And so what it does is it's, to a certain extent, it's the risk control that basically says that the city is not endorsing any activities that would lead to large groups assembling. So where we know that those groups are going to assemble, we're gonna decline to participate in those types of activities.
So
Okay.
if that group does decide though that they have the liability coverage, then we cannot deny them having that gathering? I mean, if we say we can't have large gatherings, but we're also stipulating they have to come up with this $1 million liability. If they come up with that, then do we have to grant them the right to organize?
No. This is an issue. Anytime that a group is approaching the city asking for permission, it's within the discretion of the city to decline.
And Joe, we'd always have the right to decline the funding too. I'm going to be honest, Julie, did you have a question? I saw you were there. Did you have a question, Joe?
I do. Is this covering even if like a bunch of kids are gathering and playing basketball downtown or on the playgrounds? Is this part of that where they can't even assemble to play?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, here's my other question. If we've already said we're not going to rent it through October and everything's canceled, why do we need a resolution for it? If it's just reiterating it, and what I didn't like on this, where you said between May 18th, 2020 and October 2020, the city of Mount Iron shall put in place and observe a moratorium on social events that are likely to draw large crowds, but not limited to. So does that open Pandora's box where you can say, we decided now it's not limited to this, so now we can do something else and limit you from doing something else because of a large crowd? I guess when I'm going into Walmart and these things, they're opening up the Mall of America, and this is, if you want to cancel the things at the community center, just cancel them. But I guess I can't understand why we have to make it a resolution. If it's done, it's done.
Yeah, and but we're comparing Walmart or churches. That's, those are all private. This is things held at, on.
Oh, yeah. But I guess I'm concerned about if they want to assemble on, like, across from our church where that playground is, if there are 15, 20 kids there, are they going to get asked to leave because there's too many?
I guess, you got common sense. I think it's a large gathering. Supposedly it's over 10, but we have to use common sense there, but it.
Well, then Gary, I mean, where are you drawing the line? Where's your common sense? I mean, there has to be an enforcement number there. You can't say, well, they got 11, they're okay. They got 12, they're not okay. I mean,
Joe,
we got to be assertive on this, and we got to know what our regulations and limitations are.
Joe, I think we've got it covered with that social distancing part of it. They're supposed to stay 6 feet apart. Well, if you've got 15 people and 10 of them are within 6 feet of each other, and another 5 are further out. Even with 15 people, you're not going to get them all within 6 feet of each other. They're going to be scattered.
Not if they're kids or some adults.
Well, the kids are doing that now.
But this isn't against the law to get together. So I guess you're going after the freedom to assemble. That's where you're going next with this. If we can't peaceably assemble in Mount Iron or wherever you're putting this, to me, it opens up way more than you're just canceling events for the city.
Well, it is.
And the buildings.
Yeah, and includes such things as, it says right on, if you read it, city festivals, like parades, fireworks, displays, things like that. That's what we're talking about.
So what if
We're
you're at
not-
the is it tennis courts, the whole thing? Like if they're having a little
Oh.
tournament or?
Oh, no,
That's something that talked about in this webinar. They're talking in that webinar, they're talking that playground areas should be cleaned 3 times a day. That they should not have, if they have bathrooms there, those should be cleaned. Same thing with tennis courts. They should be cleaning them 3 times a day. And we just don't have the staff to do that.
And realistically, we've never done it in history. And this thing dies in 2 minutes outside in the heat and humidity. This has been proven. The doctors, they had it up on the news. So when these kids are outside playing, put outside, play at your own risk. Then you wash your hands of it.
You know, I'm gonna be just ending, I'm just, you know, I'm gonna tell some, I'm speaking as a lame duck mayor. I've been here 18 years and I've worked very hard to do what I've done for this city. And same with all you counselors, you have done it. Joe, you've been here longer than I have. And I know Skogie, Al, Julie's newer, but you know, and when I want to be remembered, I want to be remembered. I do not want to be remembered for, in all this, what is happening, it's just large group gatherings. And we know we're talking basically about like a 4th of July parade or merit days. I don't want to be remembered when I leave this office. I want to remember some of the positive things I've been a part of. I don't want to be remembered for a COVID-19 virus that occurred at merit days in front of the library, Max Bar with 1,000 people shoulder to shoulder. That's where, again, that's what all group gatherings up here have been canceled. Let's go down the list. Landaloon has been canceled by City of Virginia. Grandma's has been canceled in Duluth. The Blueberry Festival, which is 1 week before Merit Days, has been canceled 6 weeks ago. So let's call a spade what it is. So that's all it is. I don't want to be remembered for COVID-19 outbreak happens at the Mountain Iron 4th of July parade or Mountain Iron Merit Days. That's not the way I want to be remembered.
You know, I get where we're going with this, Garen. I agree. I agree with it. I'm just want to know the legal ramifications. I want to make sure from Brian that we're not overstepping our bounds. If this is something that, you know, makes sense for us to do. You know, it's going to be a controversial thing, no doubt, but I just want to make sure we cover all the bases.
Joe, I'm going to disagree with you, Joe. I don't think it's going to be controversial. By one small group that might be controversial. Every other group has canceled these kind of events months ago.
I got that, Gary. I'm asking Brian what he thinks
Okay, well,
about us overstepping it and his opinion on, do you think that we're going in the right direction here, Brian? That's all I'd like to know.
Thank you, Counselor. And I'll answer the question, but first I'll preface my answer by kind of outlining, and maybe I should have done this up front. The intent that I understood that I was to draft into this document is that we were canceling and using it, putting in place a moratorium on the large scale events. So all of the city sponsored festival type things. My understanding and the intent in drawing this document up was not that it would affect parks or beaches or campgrounds once they're able to reopen. None of those smaller areas were intended to be touched by this document. This is to promote the health and welfare of the residents and control those larger group activities, the mass gathering type activities that the city can foresee. It's, to a certain extent, it's a loss management and a liability management tool for the city. Just make a blanket statement and say, unfortunately, we can't have parades, we can't have the big festival type activities this year.
Okay. Did we
So
lose
what
you?
Can I weigh in, Mr. Mayor?
That's exactly what the intent was when I started thinking about, after I took this webinar. It's-
John, did you
it's-
have something to say? John, were you on there? Did I hear your voice, John?
Yes, you did. One of the questions I think has not been answered is, are you going to want this enforced? And along those lines, if it's in the near future, are you going to want to be on national news to see this enforced? Because you will be.
Okay, thanks, John. With that being said, let's take a vote. Amanda, I want.
Gary, would you, I don't want to cut you out there, but I want to make sure we have enough discussion on this before you. Brian was going somewhere and he got cut off here at the end there. Brian, we didn't get your last part of your discussion there. When you were talking to.
Yep. So my last comment was that I think this is a step in the right direction. I think this is both a liability management and a loss management tool for the city. And then speaking to Sergeant Backman's point on enforcement, I don't really see this resolution so much as creating a need for enforcement. It sets a policy up front about withholding that permission in the first place. So nobody can really hold a city-sponsored parade without the city saying yes. So I don't see this as an enforcement issue after the fact. I think this is a statement by the city that we're not gonna participate in those types of activities.
Okay, especially where,
So could I ask him a question, Gary?
yeah. Go ahead.
Brian, so are you is this resolution really make it short, saying all city events are canceled for the summer? Is that what you're saying in 2 pages? Well, really, if that's what you're saying, I can agree with that because you've canceled whatever, the parades and everything like that. If that's what you're saying, I can agree with that. But if it's going to go into other areas, but not limited to where you're going to say, well, we're changing that, cancel it all and that's fine.
Right.
It seems kind of vague, if you get what I'm saying.
And
Yeah.
Julie, that was my intent when I first thought of this after I took that webinar, is just
Okay.
to cancel anything that the city's involved in.
Can you make it more clear than that so it doesn't look like Joe and I were like, what, this looks like this and that, everything's canceled? Just
Not with large groups things. It says like I'm just reading large group activities like city sponsored festivals, parades, fireworks displays, celebrations. So, I mean, if
Okay.
you want to go have in the public park and have a softball game or something with a couple kids, this is large group activity sponsored by the city. And
But yeah, where I got hung up where it said 10 or more, so large, so I guess I just wanted it clear.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Amanda, could we have a roll call on this, please? Are you there, Amanda?
No sound. We can't hear.
Amanda?
Skogman,
Okay, good, Amanda.
Skogman,
Yes,
Uria,
Okay, I want to say yes, if that's exactly what this means, just what we said, that's just the city events being canceled,
right.
right? Okay,
Yes.
I'm holding you to that, Skogman.
Treebig,
Yes.
Stanaway,
Yes.
Scalco.
Yes, motion carried 5-0. And thank you, Brian, for your expertise in writing it up. Thank you, Brian, so much.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, council members, for supporting me on this.
Thanks, Scopes.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're gonna have, are you gonna list your number here, Steve, so people can get a hold?
Yeah. 911.
Steve, I went, I got one thing a few years ago, I got no phone calls. You're not gonna get any, Steve. Trust me.
Well, I don't think so. I'm looking out for our citizens, and I'm looking out for the city. I don't want to prevent people from gathering, but anything that's going to involve the city on a gathering, we're going to have to think about it.
But you just go around this summer and see how many cities, just on the range, if you're not looking at Duluth, are gonna have 4th of July activities, parades, city celebrations. I just talked to Mayor Hibbing today. They canceled Mines and Pines in Hibbing. Everything is canceled. The large group celebrations. Okay,
One other thing that I've been doing a lot of watching, a lot of study on this COVID-19 thing. And I honestly believe that we're looking at 18 to 24 months yet before we're really out of the woods on this. So be prepared for more things down the line.
I think you're right. Okay, well, no one knows. Thanks, Go. Any other unfinished business? None? No. Item 7, new business. Communications, anybody there, 61 through 63?
Mayor, just before you, before we go on here, I want to note that we had another person join our meeting. Right, Amanda?
Amanda's little, was that a little son or daughter?
Both of them.
Thanks, Amanda. You know, anybody under communications? I see there's a run here, gang, or something for Steve Norvich. Is that a virtual run? Can you aware of something on that?
Be a virtual run. Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
if I can speak to that,
Oh, sure.
this is Anna.
Oh, go ahead, Anna.
Yep, this was something that was put together for Steve Norvich by Anchor of Hope, and it was going to be a 5K that actually passed in front of his house as he was a firefighter for the city of Mountain Iron and assistant fire chief for quite a few of those years. So this was going to be an in-person run, but will now be a virtual runner. And I just wanted to make sure that the city of Mountain Iron was made aware of this information. There won't be anything, nothing that the city has to do, but just that it was a direct benefit to a city of Mountain Iron resident in Steve Norvich. So the information is there, and we're trying to just get the word out that if people are interested in supporting Anchor of Hope and, directly Steve Norvich, they can participate in this virtual run. Basically start and end wherever you want, but your $30 registration, gets you a few things and also benefits Steve and his family.
You think, gang, we should just, this would qualify, wouldn't it, for our, for charitable gambling to make a donation? I think we must have $30 in there. Do we? Do you think this would be appropriate to make a donation from the city for this virtual run through the Anchor of Hope?
Well, being that Steve was the assistant chief for fire department and he was on the fire department for over 20 years, I think that it would be appropriate to do that.
Yeah, could we make that?
Not knowing how
What do we have for funds, Gary?
Amanda, do we know?
Do we have some funds?
I believe there was around $200 in there last time I checked.
Okay, about 200.
Okay.
So this donation is, do we want to make a motion to donate? I think the fee is only $30.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Steve has been in the community a long time. I'll make a motion that we donate $100 to the Steve Norvich virtual run.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Joe from Charitable Gambling, right, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, do we have support?
support.
Oh, thanks, Gogi. Could we have a call on that?
I want to
I'm sorry.
add something to that. Joel makes the motion for $100. I'd like to see that amended to 150. I think we've done some other higher donations, and if the account allows us to go to at least $150, that we go to 150.
Would you amend that, Joe?
Well, yeah, the only reason I mention that is we have $200 in the fund. I didn't want to, we're going to get other requests, but I can live with that.
Remember the old? Go ahead. Joe.
I'll amend that for discussion.
For 150, would you support that change? Do we have?
Yes, I will.
Okay, there's a okay, thanks, Gogi. Any further discussion? Remember the good old days, Joe, when we had money, we could do this, but
yeah, I wish we did.
So any other discussion on it? It is a great cause.
Well, everybody knows how to put their $30 into it. They don't have to run because it's a virtual run.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, you don't even have to run. There's a place you can donate here also. You can go online and donate to Christy Sickle at gmail.com. You can just make a donation for that for Mr. Norvich also without even running if you would like to donate to him.
sure. This would be a good run, Skogie, for me and you, a virtual run.
right,
We
right.
could
Hey,
sit in.
Gary, for
Yep.
you, does this count running from the couch to the fridge and back?
It could, Joe. Yeah, there's a
If
possibility.
you could do 5K out of it, sure.
I could keep going. I'll continue.
Yeah.
Uh,
His 5K is 5 cookies.
Gary, if you and I run this, we'll be running for our life.
Oh, we dogs. Hey, with that being said, Amanda, could you take a roll?
Mr. Mayor, before we move on here is,
I'm-
are we making it, who are we making the donation to?
I
We cannot make a donation to the Norviches.
no, it has to be to the Anchor of Hope.
Anchor, yes, correct, Mr. Mayor. It is to Anchor of Hope.
And what kind of
Anchor-
organization?
And then
is that?
down, and we can split it up however you'd like. I can get some information from from Carol Hassel and Christy Sickle, who both are some of the organizers of this event, so that we can make it to a 501c3 that is supported by that.
Okay, right. So this will be to the Anchor of Hope. You got that's the motion, Joe?
Yeah, it also stipulates on here that their funds either go to the Angel Fund or the Care Partners. So
Yeah.
Yes.
But the
Correct.
donation,
Allowable groups, Brian?
can you support that, Skogie?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so it's made to the Anchor of Hope donation. Okay. With that
does that
being
work
said,
for you, Craig? Craig, is that?
I was just asking Brian if those were acceptable, do you believe?
would they be, you think, Craig, the Anchor of Hope?
I don't know what
That's for
kind of.
Brian. That's
organization
for
that
Brian,
fits the hope
Gary.
is.
I think we lost Brian again.
Brian, are you there?
Yep. Oh, my audio froze for a moment. I believe the Angel Fund, and I believe they both are because they provide relief to folks that are suffering from cancer. So I believe
So-
they both qualify.
Okay, thanks so much. I guess we can try to make it to Anchor Hope. Thanks, Craig, for bringing that up. Okay, with that being said, Amanda, could you take a roll, please?
Skogman,
Yes.
Furia,
Yes.
Liebig,
Yes.
Stanaway,
Yes.
Scalco.
Yes, motion carried 5-0. Any other announcements before we take off? Oh, it's 7:30 already. It's almost, I think I got better tape my batch last night of The Bachelor, listen to the music. So I got to catch that. I think I have it. Anybody else? Any other announcements? How about, okay, before we adjourn, I just want to say everybody have a safe Memorial Day weekend. It's coming up, so we won't be meeting until what, June 1st, I guess? So everybody have a safe Memorial Day weekend. I also want to let the public know that filings are open now. I think they begin, Amanda, tomorrow, right? Tuesday, March 19th through June 1st. And this will be filings for a mayor position and for 2 council seats. So people,
Closes June 2nd,
what's that? Oh,
June 2nd, Tuesday, June 2nd at 5 p.m.
Okay, you'll see somebody around 4:30 then. Okay,
With that in mind, is the city hall going to be open now so that anybody that's interested can get in and file?
I'm mailing them out.
they can,
So they contact the city hall and then you'll mail them
You mail the information. Okay.
Yep.
they send you the $2 or whatever it was.
right, it's $2, yeah. So it's for one, the May, from tomorrow, May 19th until Tuesday, June 2nd for the 2 concert positions and for mayor. So, okay, thanks, Amanda. With that being said, I so move to adjourn. Do I have support?
Support.
Support. Thanks, Joel. Take care, everybody. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. 5-0. Take care, everybody. Again, we'll see you on June 1st. Stay safe and healthy. Take
See
care.
ya.
See ya.
Take
Bye-bye.
care, stay safe.